Welcome back, everyone. In today's video I will be reviewing the D-Dart Pro or the D-Dart Tempest. I've seen it called both. My box that mine came in says nothing about Tempest, it only says D-Dart Pro, but after searching online a lot of people refer to this as the Tempest, so that's what I'm going to call it because it sounds cooler and I like it more. So, I'll be reviewing the D-Dart Tempest. The D-Dart Tempest has a pretty cool design. It's a fully automatic drum-fed blaster, and as you can see, it is a drum with a handle grip in the center, and the drum rotates around your hand and shoots. It's a really fun design, and I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to this blaster. I've seen it a bunch online, and it has a really cool design, and it feels fun in your hand. It feels very futuristic. It's all contained around your hand. It feels like a video game weapon. You can dual wield both of them and fully auto fire your darts. It just feels really cool. It's very maneuverable, and I don't know, it's just fun. I enjoy it. The D-Dart Pro comes included with the blaster and 27 suction head darts. The Tempest runs off of 4 AAA batteries, which are located in the front bottom of the grip. You have to undo the little screw and then pull down on the tab. And then there's a little black tab in the space that they allow you to pull and take out your little battery holder. Now when you first open it up, it looks like you just need to put 2 AAAs in there, but you do need to pull it out and get to the ones on the back as well. Once you've loaded up your batteries, just close your door until it snaps and tighten your screw and you're ready to go. The Tempest is a flywheel driven blaster, but it doesn't have a rev switch like a lot of the other flywheel products. It has a little on-off switch right here on the front, and in the off position it obviously won't work. You can pull the trigger all you want and nothing happens. You have to flip it to on, and then it powers up the flywheels. And the Tempest has to be continuously on for it to be functioning, so your flywheels are always going to be spinning up and you're always going to hear it going. The key feature of the Tempest is obviously the 27 dart drum that surrounds the entire blaster and your hand. It has a ratcheting system here on the back, so it can only move in one direction. Let's talk about the grip on the Tempest. It's a pretty large grip even for a full-grown adult hand. It's pretty fat because it has to hold all of your batteries and all of the electronics inside one grip because there's nowhere else really to put it on the blaster. So it's a pretty thick or deep grip, and if you were a small child, I could see you having an issue getting your hand on this grip and being comfortable. That being said, it is very light, so there's not a lot of weight you have to carry around, and the trigger is more of a button than anything. There's no real pull to it, it's just pressing a button, and that will allow you to fire fully automatic. Loading the Tempest is kind of weird, so I'm going to get a close-up and show you how it works, so here you go. This is the loading procedure of the Tempest. What they want you to do, you can press the included darts in from the side here into their little tubes. But as you see, they kind of go in at an angle and it scrapes them all the way in. There's not much you can do about that. How they actually want you to load it, the issue of loading them in like this is that you can't get to any of these behind the actual flywheels. So there's 3 or 4 slots that you can't load. So they want you to twist this little knob here, and it brings back the stop mechanism that's normally engaged like this so that you can't spin the wheel or spin the drum. So they want you to use this guy, which brings that out, and then you can free spin the wheel to the left like that, and that's so that you can load in all the darts in their different areas, but there is no getting around that you have to put them in at an angle and they scrape going in. But that is how they want you to load it, and to get into all those other spots you just rotate and then you can slot it in. I will also point out on the included suction head darts, if you leave them in the blaster for too long, it will crease in certain areas, not necessarily crease, but indent. As you can see on these, you find another one. There's just going to be little indentions everywhere. So eventually you are going to ruin the end of your darts if you leave them loaded into the Tempest for too long. So if you're not using it, don't store it with darts inside of it. And once you've loaded all of the darts in the entire drum, you're going to want to get the start position up to the actual flywheel part. So you're going to rotate that all the way around until you get the start lined up, and then you're going to continue spinning that wheel until it clicks back down, and now it's locked into place on start. And you're reloaded. Alright, now that the Tempest is all loaded up, let's take it out and shoot it and see how it does. D-Dart Pro with the included darts. Alright, so that was the Tempest firing. It's alright. It averaged 55 FPS on my chrono, which is, in all honesty, that's pretty slow, and I'd like to see a lot more performance. And that was firing single darts while letting the flywheels rev up in between. Your velocity drops pretty quickly if you are firing fully automatic. As you can see in the video, I was holding it straight, and then as I started firing and the darts wouldn't go as far, I would have to raise to get it to land into my target. So be wary of that if you're doing sustained fire, which with a fully automatic blaster like this, you're going to be wanting to do some sustained fire. Overall, the Tempest is pretty cool. It's more novelty than anything, in my opinion, just because it looks so fun, and it's very different to use, and it's cool to see the drum rotating around your hand, but the performance is just not good enough for me, and I want this to be fun, so I'm going to go ahead and do what I can to make it fun. So yeah, I'll be back in just a little bit with, hopefully, a much more fun, much more usable version of this blaster. See you in a little while. Alright, disclaimer time. Before I show you the mod that I did to this blaster, modding your blasters can easily break them. Modding puts more stress on all your components, and you can break it in the process of modifying it. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it if you care about breaking your blaster. Now, I'm not saying don't do it in general, just know there's a chance you're going to break your stuff. Disclaimer over, let's get back to it. Well, I'm back, and I've done what I wanted to do to the Tempest, and as you can probably see, there's something sticking out the front of it now, and that is a, yep, that's a stick LiPo. This is a 2-cell 7.4 volt LiPo battery. Now, the Tempest came originally with those 4 AAAs, which is 6 volts, and this LiPo is going to bring it up to 7.4 volts. Now that we're at the higher voltage, we should get a little bit more FPS and hopefully rate of fire with less of a dip. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on and hear it rev up. Alright, that obviously works. My LiPo is not attached. I did make a small hole so that it can come out of the battery compartment. What I did was I just soldered in a connector so that I could attach my LiPo, and it hides just up inside where the original AAA compartment was, and I made a little hole in the side of the handle for the wires to come out of. And eventually, if I like this mod, I will probably put a piece of Velcro tape on the inside of the drum here where it doesn't move, and a little piece of tape on the side of the LiPo, just so that I can stick it up out of the way where it won't interfere with my grip. Alright, I think the only thing we need to do now is go out and test this and see how much better I made it. Tempest with the 7.4 volt 2-cell LiPo. .74 LiPo. Yeah, I'd say that worked. I'd say that worked very well. With the 7.4 LiPo, this thing shoots fantastically. On the chrono, it did 72 feet per second, and that's good. That's up in normal Nerf Elite range, and it was a lot more consistent on its shooting. They didn't dive off immediately like with the 6 volts of the AAAs. They shot great, and that was a blast. That really made this blaster significantly better, and now I think my opinion on this has completely changed. I wasn't super sold on it before, but now that it can perform and shoot like that, it's a new ball game. I might be able to find a way to actually convince myself to use this at some point. But now that I have that connector, not only do I have 7.4 LiPos, I also have 11.1 LiPos, and that's the same connector, so I could just plug that in, right? I mean, why not? Tempest with an 11.1 3-cell LiPo. Let's see if it blows up. Woo! Tempest with 11.1 LiPo. Yeah, that was awesome. With the 11.1, this thing is completely insane. Yeah, I mean, you saw that, right? That's exactly... That's stupid fun. Yeah, so with the 11.1 LiPo, this thing shot at 96 feet per second and went through all 27 darts so fast. And there was virtually no drop-off in trajectory. It's sweet. I will say, though, the included wiring on the Tempest is so small that I probably won't run the 11.1 in there very often, just because I'm afraid it's going to melt the tiny little wires that it came with. Just be aware of that. If you're going to do that, I wouldn't run the 11.1 too often, unless you just don't care if you break it or you want to redo all of the wiring, which that's probably what I would do if I was going to run this often, so that I could have that crazy performance from the... That was absurd. It was so fun. Oh man, yeah, that was really fun. Alright. Okay, now that I've shot the Tempest, now that I've modded it, time for me to give my actual opinions on the Tempest. In its stock, out-of-the-box form, it's not very good. It has a low rate of fire, low velocity, and it's more of a gimmick than anything, in my opinion. You just do it because you want to hold a blaster and watch the drum rotate around your hand, and it's just cool, but it doesn't perform as cool as it is. And the fact that it's just an on-off switch to get this thing to shoot is terrible. That's a horrible design. Makes this completely unusable in most any competitive situation or even fun game type situation, because you're constantly going around with it and everyone's going to know exactly where you are, so you will have no element of surprise. And it's not an easy flick to turn it on one-handed. It is, I mean, it's possible, but it's not an easy switch back and forth. You kind of need your other hand, so that kind of ruins it as a secondary. And the fact that, I mean, that's the profile of it. How are you going to holster this? There's no, and that'd be kind of fun. But there's no real way to holster this, to use it as a secondary, and it takes so long to reload that it's not a very good primary either. But it is a cool design. Now, that being said, with the 7.4, this thing performs so much better and exactly how I would want this to perform out of the box. So I will almost exclusively be running the 7.4 in mine if I ever use it, and I wouldn't feel too bad running around with two of these with 7.4s. Now the reloading is still horribly slow and annoying, but I feel like if you had two, you might have a decent chance. You'd have to go find somewhere to hide to reload, but it would be fun. Or if you could find a way to holster it, that would also be cool. Now, with the 11.1, completely ridiculous. You pull the trigger one time and it shoots a minimum of 5 darts. It was super hard to chrono this thing, but it's just... It's so much fun. You pull the trigger and you instantly just start smiling and feeling bad for anybody that's standing in front of you. It's great. Now I did say the wiring that comes in the Tempest is tiny. I thought I was going to break it just messing with it and soldering on this connector. I don't know how long it would be able to keep up with the 11.1, especially since you have to flick it on and it'll just sit there running and heating up those wires. I don't suggest using it for a prolonged period of time on the 11.1 unless you replace all of the wiring. And even then, I wouldn't run the 11.1 with the on-off switch. Would I recommend you buy this? As a competitive blaster, no way. There's really no role for this on the battlefield. It's too bulky for a secondary, and it's too small and hard to reload for a primary. 27 darts is good, but it's not enough when it takes you 3 minutes to reload the thing, and you're completely useless while reloading it. So if you're going to use it competitively at all, no, but if you want to have some fun with it and you enjoy the looks of it, which that's probably why most people would want to purchase this anyway, it's not expensive. Go for it, it's fun. Throw some LiPos in there and have a great time with it. Moving forward, there is another mod I would like to try on the Tempest, and that's to get rid of the on-off switch and to include it into the trigger button, because I think with those LiPos, it'll spool up plenty fast on that click while shooting the darts to be pretty good. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth my time or if I should just leave it like this and have fun with it. You can definitely let me know in the comments if you want to see me do that, or if you'd like to see me do any other mods to this, or any other Nerf guns for that matter. Alright, I think that's going to wrap this video up. I hope I gave you enough information on whether or not you would want to purchase the D-Dart Tempest or not, and if you would like to mod it or not. Thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below to tell me what you would like to see done next on this blaster or any others, like I said. I do have a Patreon, so if you'd like to support the channel, please check that out. There'll be a link in the description. If you want to purchase one of these, I will also put a link in the description down there. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Travis, and I'll see you next time.